Oh.
Hi.
What's up?
We're all
Hello.
gonna die.
Oh, hey guys. I just got here.
Oh, hi.
Oh, well.
Oh, hi, D&D group.
Well, anyway, how is your sex life?
Oh, this is gonna be fun. I did not ruin the intro. I did not.
Oh, I was gonna tell you, the Disaster Artist was definitely a movie I could watch on the plane.
Oh,
Off
you didn't
the
watch
ramp.
it? We have to watch it.
I ain't stopping either.
I don't care, dude. It's fine.
This is 100% our intro.
Yep. So, we still rolling there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yep. All we need now is somebody to say penis.
Penis.
Pianist.
Violinist?
Is this like Dave and Chuck
Flautist?
the Freak? We have to say it penis to make it not such a sensitive word.
Yeah, sure. That's why.
Penis. Oh,
So.
Becca, I've messed up my murder board. It's fine.
What are you doing with your life?
I don't know. I'm ready for Dungeons and Dragons, the tabletop
Yeah.
roleplay game.
Yeah.
Let's play
Okay.
the 5th edition, you guys.
No, I like 4th.
But before we continue, let's have a
I
10-minute
choose
monologue.
3.5.
Indeed.
Alright, who wants to roll to say what happened last week?
Wait, I got this. I got this. I think I can handle this one, guys.
Okay.
We even have a volunteer.
Last week,
Yay.
we didn't play because this is the first week. But in the past of the world in which this campaign is set, shit's gone down.
Aw, shit.
Yeah, right? Cue box text. For the past several days. No, I'm not doing that. The talk of the streets of taverns has all been about the so-called death curse, a wasting disease afflicting everyone who's ever been raised from the dead. Victims grow thinner and weaker each day, slowly but steadily sliding toward the death they once denied. When they finally, and neither can anyone else, they've ever received that miracle. Temples and scholars of the loss to explain the entire region and possibly world. A little tighter.
Is he lagging for anybody but me? Like
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
I figured
okay.
it was just me, because you
I have him in real life, so I don't know why I
Yeah.
answered that he's not lagging.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like everything you say, it sounds like you start talking and then look away from the mic and then come back to talking at the end.
Yeah.
That is a good,
Really?
The only reason I say that is that you guys tell me the exact same thing when I do something like this and then look back.
Hmm.
So
Okay. So wait, it's just been a volume thing, not like a time thing? Because I know somebody said lagging.
well, it starts and then cuts out and then comes back at the end of what you say.
Okay. 1 second.
You seem to be
Tweak
okay
my-
now. I think you just need to just
Yeah.
stop
it's
and
only
let
when
it-
you're saying important things.
Yeah, exactly. You know, selective muting or whatever.
Yeah. That whole time I was just like, well, this is probably important, but I'll just,
Yeah.
just let it go well.
Yeah.
Can't even catch it
That's
post
fine.
either. You're good now.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can bring down that threshold a little bit so I can more reliably be heard.
I don't
I don't
even know
know.
if it was just dropping that. It was just like every time Discord sent something from you, it just fucking garbled it and then got the
Okay.
beginning and end. So
Cool.
you're good now.
All right. Well, focusing in on the party rather than, you know, the whole world and how fucked it is. We find this group of adventurers that have all been invited to the home of Sindra Sylvain, a retired adventurer and merchant. A uniformed attendant leads you all up a grand staircase to the 3rd floor, then ushers you into a wood-paneled room with a fireplace, comfortable chairs, and a heavy table bearing goblets and bottles of wine. The darkly paneled walls are hung with maps and sea charts. Racks, shelves, and cabinets hold hundreds more rolled-up maps and charts. A person is seated in an overstuffed chair near the fire. You can't discern a gender because only the person's head emerges from under a heavy blanket draped over the chair, and an embroidered hood and silver mask conceal the wearer's face. Even the person's dry, raspy voice provides no clue. Help yourselves to the wine
So he's a
and seat
smoker.
yourselves. I hope I may soon call you friends.
Alright, so Tree Hugger goes and grabs a chair and drags it all the way across the room.
Full on Men in Black, just.
Yep. Yep, and then he sits down next to the figure.
Okay.
I'm gonna go and grab the wine.
Alright.
Fib grabs a glass of wine and sits down uncomfortably close to Tree Hugger.
Okay. Are you like on the same chair as me?
No, just like, you know how like when someone scoots their chair too close and it's like kind of uncomfortable?
Yeah, because there's plenty of room to spread out. Which,
like
yeah,
you don't
okay, gotcha.
have to be like practically touching my leg.
Right. Trigger just looks at her and smiles.
Oh, good.
He
Is there a
doesn't really
bookshelf?
care.
Is there what?
A bookshelf.
Yeah, there are lots of bookshelves and other types of shelves around.
So you see a somewhat, I would say about 5'8", 5'9" person, fully in just a black cloak, walks over and starts looking at the bookshelf. A hummingbird actually buzzes out from inside the cloak and goes and looks at some other books.
Okay.
So that's all I'm doing.
Hey, come sit down. What are you doing?
I'm gonna find a nice
Dude.
chair.
Here, I'll pull up a chair for you. And I go and painfully drag another chair all the way across. There you go, pal, right there. And I pat the seat, and I sit back in my chair.
How
I find-
padded are these seats?
Guys, we have our own Puma. It's
Yep.
amazing.
What do we do?
A character from another campaign.
Oh.
Can I find a reasonably close chair that I don't have to drag across the room?
Yeah, I think there are probably, a couple that are free in that general area, maybe near the table where the wine is kept.
Yeah, I will do that.
What
Okay.
books do I see, if any?
You see a number of books on various arcane subjects.
Ooh.
It doesn't take a whole lot of poking around to gather that the person that summoned you here today is probably a rather accomplished spellcaster.
Right. Do I see anything that might be a spell book?
Not a spell book per se, more like arcane history texts and things like that.
Alright. Anything on death, dying, anything like that?
I would say there are probably more of those types of books than you would expect.
I'm gonna just
Um,
grab one and walk over and go
Oh,
sit
okay.
down.
Okay. So yeah, you have a seat with the book, and immediately the masked figure says, "Yes, I've been deep in my research recently, over these last few weeks in particular, trying to discern the root of the problem that ultimately causes you all to be assembled here today. Surely you've heard of the death curse.
Yes, I have.
Yep.
Who hasn't?
Well, the curse, and the effects of which I'm sure you're aware, have struck me. I don't know how much longer I'll last before I perish. Clerics have no help to offer. Even they are stymied by what's happening. And so, I seek another means of finding an answer. All of you. In my earlier days, those that ultimately caused the predicament I find myself in, I made some friends. And you see thin, wrinkled hands sort of emerge from the blanket and cloak that are cast over this person, opening up to reveal a gold coin about the size of a $50. And those of you who are close, so probably like Treehugger, Fib, you can see imprinted on the surface of the coin, the face of it that is up, is an image of a certain stringed instrument. A harp.
Ooh.
The hummingbird flies over and gets close. And I'll look through the hummingbird's eyes.
Okay. The voice continues. My contacts in the Harpers have learned that the cause of the death curse is a necromantic artifact called a soulmonger. According to their sources, it must be located somewhere in Chult. I think a lot of you probably have passing familiarity with the general area of Chult. It's a tropical peninsula, largely unexplored by modern civilizations. And looking around, you can actually see a number of maps that seem to represent various portions of the Chilton Peninsula. And the one thing that they all seem to have in common is beyond, say, 50 to 100 miles inland, there's nothing to be found on those maps.
You forgot to fill out the middle of your maps there.
There's kind of a weak, raspy chuckle as the voice says, I've done the best that I can. Those maps that you see, those are not my work. And
Oh.
the figure like reaches over to a table situated next to them and grabs what is looks like a large rolled up bit of parchment or paper and begins to slowly unfurl it kind of across their lap and says, "This is my work." And looking at this map, you see essentially what you will see if you go and look at the player's map of Chult handout. It is the sum of all of these different components mapped out in Chult, assembled in a single map to give, in theory, the best possible reference that any modern explorer could have going into that area. The voice goes on and says, the peninsula of Chult is ringed with mountains, choked with rainforests, enormous reptiles, savage goblins, and an army of undead prowl its jungles and ruins. Mapping the place has always been nigh impossible. Nothing is known about the region's current geography beyond what you can see here. Working from dozens of sea charts, logbooks, and explorers' journals, I assembled everything known about the state of Chult into this map, which I will provide to you if you undertake the mission I have in store. But I respect the fact that no adventurer worth his salt runs headfirst into danger for free. I led a life similar to that with which you are acquainted, and was rather successful at it. I've amassed quite the collection of magical items and artifacts. And should you venture to Chult, find and root out the cause of this death curse, you will each be given your choice of any powerful magical artifact that I have in my possession.
Wouldn't it be a better idea to give them to us before we go in?
If I were to pay you ahead of time, there's no guarantee that you would follow through with our arrangement.
I suppose.
What if we do pinky promise? And I hold up my gigantic pinky.
You see the little hummingbird go over and land on his pinky.
I like pet the hummingbird
It likes it.
really gently, yeah. Pretty birdie.
Can you be gentle enough for a hummingbird?
Yeah, I'm a very gentle big guy.
A gentle,
A gentle
giant?
half giant.
Yeah.
Okay. The voice says, I'm afraid I must insist upon payment on completion of the task.
Okay.
If I'm gonna go kill myself, can I at least have a sample of what you have?
The figure just waves a hand, and you see materializing in front of you in sort of a pile is just this heap of what you recognize as rather potent magical artifacts, staves and wands and totems of all sorts. And
My
although
eyes
you
go wide.
Yeah, although you can recognize pretty clearly that it's just an illusion, a representation of what might be there to be seen, they're certainly detailed.
Well, and the fact that he can just pull this out of his ass and create this is no small thing either. Like the image.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. A fair sample.
So, are you all in accord? Looks around at each of you.
I'm definitely willing to help you.
Treehugger just smiles and nods.
As long as big guy stays in front, I'm in.
I just sit there and nod.
Viv manages to rip her gaze away from the shiny stuff.
Okay. And as you kind of feel the gaze of the masked figure upon each of you, each nodding or, giving your acknowledgement somehow, The figure says, "When you're ready to depart, I will teleport us all to Port Nyanzaru, the only major settlement in Chult. I've been there several times before, so there's little chance of mishap. Once there, I will stay with an old friend named Wakanga Otamu. He's one of 7 merchant princes who rule the city. He may also prove to be a valuable asset in your quest." Do you have any last-minute business you need to attend to before we embark?
Do you have any less powerful artifacts we would be able to borrow to improve our chance at success?
I've
What is-
sold...
What does Thorv look like? Sorry.
Yeah,
Red dwarf.
Just
Red Dwarf.
But I mean, do you have a shield? Do you have a sword?
Yep, I have a shield
Well, at that point, I'll look over.
on my back right now.
Ah, okay. I'll look over and I'll say, "Can you even cast a spell?"
Wasn't asking for myself necessarily.
Oh, well, do carry on then.
The voice says, "I've sold a great many lesser of the knowledge I present to you today. I believed that only the appeal of the more exotic items would be enough to gain the interest of worthwhile adventurers."
Okay.
Okay.
We can go now?
All, making sure
You're cutting out again.
just stay away all willy-nilly.
What was that?
Everybody's
Still cutting out.
Yeah, you're cutting out
ready
again.
to go.
Yes, I'm ready to go.
Really? Connection.
There we go. Now you're good again.
We're on Discord, right?
Nope, now it's
No.
screwed up.
I'm also red barred.
Huh. Laura, are you okay?
Now I'm red.
No. So it's your internet.
The yellow.
Oop. I heard yellow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Restart the router.
Wait, oh, I hear you guys good now.
Yeah, now.
Oop,
Mm,
Okay.
are we good?
I'm yellow. I'm better.
Hold on.
When it... Oh no,
Let's
he's...
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Go ahead and restart. I would say restart your modem too.
I guess I could have just said that out loud.
Little.
Yeah. I guess while we're
Me
waiting.
and Becca cutting out too.
Yes, you are.
Yes. You,
So it's
You're-
what? 3 of us left?
Yeah.
I guess while we're waiting for the audience, or whatever, or for the sake of it, we can describe our own characters if we want.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, so I guess I'll start. So Treehugger is a Fearbolg, And so his people, the reason he's named Trigger is because his people don't really use names. And the first person from outside of his community who saw him was like, "Oh, you're one of those tree huggers, right?" And so he just was like, "Well, that's good enough for a name for me." And so he's been known that as that ever since. So he's Firbolg are these tall, nature-loving, usually pretty peaceful peoples. So he has gray skin, and then dark white hair and bright black beard, also known as gray. But no, he's various shades of gray, kind of very aged looking. He's got all kinds of twigs and leaves and little flowers or seeds mixed all into his beard and hair, and like there's little braids here and there, and all of his equipment is very much like homemade looking. You know, they've got all kinds of little markings on them, and they've clearly been sewn together by various means of either animal hides and whatnot, or just sticks and rocks. And yeah, he's very slow moving but confident. You know, he's not like, he's gentle, but that doesn't mean he's always peaceful. You know, he's kind of ready and willing to do things, but you know, it's not his first option to be violent. So that's sort of who he is.
All right. You want to go next, Austin, or you want me to?
You can go next.
All right. So you see Lucius throw back the hood, and essentially I am what looks like I'm not too dark. I'm basically like white guy with a tan color. I look completely human, other than the fact that I have two horns protruding out and rounding across my head, like you see in my little picture.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not really very. I don't look buff. Like I'm very thin. Not sickly, but you know, tieflings are thin. So.
Right.
I kind of want to hear the description of your characters.
That's fine. I mean, we can go over it again. We were just doing it to pass the time.
Yeah.
We'll come back around and do it again.
Alright, just waiting on Laura.
Like always.
It didn't even disconnect me, so.
Wait, you didn't even get disconnected?
Like it freaked out, but as soon as it went back online, it automatically connected my voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would imagine that's what's gonna happen with Laura too. It just says she's offline right now, so.
There she's online.
There she is.
What up?
Yo.
Yes. Well, and I
Do
figured
we have...
What?
Do we have voice from Laura? I guess not.
Go slap her on the back of the head.
Hey.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there she
Hey,
is.
cool. Alright.
When Discord reconnected, for some reason it was sending everything through my TV instead of my headset.
Oh, that makes sense. Seems legit. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, let's as we look around the soon to be companions in this adventure, what do we see? Who do we see?
I guess, do we want to start? You want to go again, Tree Hugger?
Sure.
Okay.
Alright, so Treehugger is a Firbolg. He's 6'9" tall. So he's a little short for his people, but he's got sort of ashen gray skin with a white and gray beard and hair. So he's got like a full mane. He's got lots of braids and little twigs and leaves and all kinds of decorations all mixed into his hair and beard all over the place. He's kind of a thick build, but not necessarily like overly muscular. And then he's got all of his armor and equipment and whatnot are all formed from natural sources using animal byproducts, using sticks and leaves and whatever. It's all just very assembled, but assembled very well and very efficiently. So, and then he holds himself as sort of confident but slow to act. He's the type of person who waits to consider things and just kind of has that air about him of someone who's confident but calm. So, yeah.
Okay. And next to him,
Lucius. So you see, Lucius throws back the hood, and a not really dark, but like I was saying, a white guy with a tan, kind of thing. About that complexion, complete normal-looking face. Other than the fact that I have 2 horns protruding out of the top of my head, and they wrap around behind my head.
right.
Sort of like what my picture shows. And as I do that, you see I'm just in a complete plain black cloak, full body cloak. The hummingbird actually flies over and lands on my horn. And then you see me start fishing through some pockets, and I pull out a skull, check it, make sure I have it, and put it back in my pocket. I'm also about like an average size tiefling in terms of height, a little on the thin side, a little on the scrawny side.
Okay. Just for clarification, I'm trying to picture it. Like, are we talking a human skull?
It's about a human-sized skull, yeah.
Okay.
You pulled out a skull from your pouch?
Just out of my pocket. Check to make sure I had,
Okay.
like basically
like you do.
Like you're checking for your keys. I checked.
I like that you thought the part I was questioning was that it was from your pouch and not your pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Fine.
So.
Fine. Okay. Next.
Alright, and next to that, I guess, since I did say I was ridiculously close to Tree Hugger,
Yeah.
is Fib. She's like an elf, except she's a Shadar Kai, so she's a cool elf. And her skin is very, very pale, and she's very, very tall. Are elves generally taller than humans?
Yeah.
They're
Well,
about
my
the same,
elf.
usually.
Well, she's even tall for an elf, if they're taller than humans. And she has like that short pixie cut in her token, and I guess her hair is slightly pink, cause cool, why not?
She's like 7 foot-ish.
Sure. That
Oh
sounds
no, I'm
good.
just trying to get an idea of how big she is.
7 feet sounds good, but she's really skinny, so she looks really awkward
So
because
like
she's
an
just way
Enderman.
too tall.
You're an Enderman in Minecraft, except
A
white.
Slender Man?
Yeah, Slender Man.
Yes to both.
Alright, that's good. And her eyes are her pupils are black, but then it's a little bit bigger than that, so it's kind of creepy. It's not like her entire eye that's black though.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. So it's fine. She wears a sleeveless long dress that goes all the way down to her ankles, cause she just plays her instruments. She doesn't have to get in on that melee fighting. She does have a quarterstaff just in case though, so she can defend herself.
Does she have an instrument?
Yes, she has instruments she has 4 instruments, so she's got to find a way to wrap those all up. I think most of them are small though. She has a pan flute. Oh, she only has 3. She has a pan flute, a viol, and a dulcimer.
Okay.
What are the last 2? I just
I don't remember. I did look them up to make sure I wanted them. Now I don't remember what they are.
All right, so a viol is like imagine a cross between like a violin and
Viola.
well I was gonna say guitar because it's a 6-stringed instrument.
So it's a bigger instrument. Like guitar sized or violin sized?
It's like
In
that.
between.
So it's if I had to, I don't know, I would say it's maybe a little bit bigger than like a violin, but it's not like a stand-up instrument.
Okay, so it's transportable though.
That one.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the 2 things I just posted.
Gotcha.
So
Except the first one's a stand-up instrument.
Yeah.
okay, well I'm sorry. It says viol right there.
It's probably
It's a
like a
viola.
bass viol. There you go. Anyway,
Well, maybe
so there's that.
George Crow shouldn't lie to me.
And then what was the other one?
A dulcimer is also a stringed instrument.
Okay.
She loves
It's a little
strings.
it's a little less conventional. It's basically like if you took a guitar neck and put it over the top of a guitar body.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like a bowl
Are you looking at
with
the
strings?
pictures that I posted?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
It's like a bowl with some strings stretched across it.
It looks more like a gourd.
So like look at it's the second picture.
Oh, that is it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she has those strapped somewhere on her pack, and plus the pan flute. But the pan flute is very small, so she probably just put it inside. And she wears leather armor, so I guess that really clashes with her dress. But you know, what are you gonna do?
I mean, you're like one of the most goth of all elf types, so like
It's
it kind of
true.
works.
It's it's definitely black leather armor.
Oh, totally.
So that, and she probably has like biker gloves too, but like
Yeah, I know.
fantasy biker gloves.
Yeah. Fib is like Hot Topic kid, hardcore.
Fib is like Yao Ming in Hot Topic. It's like really pale, tall, lanky.
So I muted myself because I'm eating a sandwich, and I just realized no one heard anything I said about the dulcimer.
No.
What did
I was just saying it's a lot of like blocking and sliding, and I like explained how it's like goes in the lap and everything. Like, why are they ignoring me?
Yeah. Everyone's just like, I don't care what John says.
What I get for not finishing my food before we started.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
I
we're
really
hazing
want
the
some
new
ice
guy by
cream.
ignoring him.
Right. Okay. And I'm just asking these questions because I just for visualize.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's good to be able to visualize everything that's going on.
Gotcha.
I looked up people playing these on YouTube, and then I forgot. So it's good that you asked, and that we have Eric to explain it to us.
Yeah.
I also play and have a pan flute, so we could do some sweet duets later.
Oh, good. And this time I actually have performance, so I won't like
Hey.
friggin' fail at everything.
Right.
All right. So we got 2 left. Don't want everybody to jump in at once.
Alright. So I'm dwarf, about 4 feet tall, red hair, fairly pale, muscular, not overweight. Then I have chainmail armor and shield strapped to my back.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And then there's the blue person.
Yeah, I'm the blue person. So
I
you
the
see-
blue person.
Let's make a lot of jokes about that blue song.
I'm blue.
Like, yeah, just like throughout the campaign, we have to remember to do that.
Yeah, just like be like, hey, let's go back to your blue house with the blue window. Stuff like that.
And a blue Corvette.
Yeah.
Something
Well,
else is blue.
We are not sponsored
Yeah.
by Chevy or Corvette.
Or Eiffel.
We could be though.
Yeah, we could.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So you see before you a chipper-looking water genasi. He's about 5'4". Fairly young-looking. Light blue skin and blue hair and blue eyes that match each other. She is actually wearing heavy armor, which is various shades of blue, gray, and gray. Kind of like colors of like, water when it's, clear versus stormy. And also has a mace with a shield strapped across her back, and also a crossbow. But more importantly, she has this beautiful sea glass necklace around her neck.
It is lovely.
Can you roll to see how lovely it is? Actually, we have to roll to see how lovely we think it is.
Oh boy. Investigation.
I was investigating.
It's alright, you guys.
I was investigating how lovely it was.
Was it investigation?
I don't know. We're just kind of fucking around.
I know how
Well,
freaking.
Lucius thinks it is the most beautiful thing ever.
I
feel
mean,
like this...
it's not black, so it's
I
okay.
have a
Yeah.
great appreciation for artifacts.
It's okay.
Let me get Thorv off of Always
Yeah, you wanna
Whisper.
fix that.
Yeah. There we go. Should be good.
Don't take it, it's my spellcasting focus.
No, I'm not. I'm just. I appreciate it, and I would. Can we say with that I
And he
recognize
won?
that it's somewhat of a spellcasting focus?
Well, I would say this.
Yeah.
You don't see anything else that looks like a spellcasting focus,
Gotcha.
so it's probably, possibly, probably, maybe related.
Okay. I'm okay with
I
that.
mean, I'm also pretty heavily armored, so I may not be magic based.
Okay.
We'll find out.
But do you have like a weapon then?
Yeah, I said I have a mace.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And my belt and a shield and a crossbow on my back.
Gotcha.
Did you
Yeah,
just
she's-
use your
she's
belt
packing.
as a weapon?
could.
I have a mace, a belt, and a
I
crossbow.
said a mace on my belt.
Oh.
No, she'll just take the belt off and give you a whooping.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, take your belt off. Huh?
Okay.
Cool. All right. So this is the group that has assembled, sort of around the room here, talking with Syndra Sylvain, and assuming you guys don't have anything else you want to do here, Syndra begins making a few gestures, slowly tracing out runes and sigils in the air, incanting some sort of probably ancient verbiage to accompany it. And you watch the area around you begin to kind of just fade away, replaced by a brilliant white light. But you only experience that for a moment, as the light turns a bit more warm, natural. You can actually feel a nearly oppressive heat wash over you. And looking around, there's still this massive array of light just pounding down on you. But now there's more, and there are sounds and smells accompanying it as the pure white light fades away. And you find yourselves no longer in the dark, firelit room where you met with Syndra, but rather near the edge of a dock in a sprawling, multi-level city. So,
All right.
yeah, go ahead.
Treehugger is thrilled at this. The whole time he's like, "Whoa!" He's like clapping and looking around. He's this.
Yeah.
Is great. This is
Yeah,
just
he's-
great. and he loves it.
I'm pretty excited with him.
Yeah. He's like the guy who's like throwing his hands up on the roller coaster and
Yeah, I'm with
Exactly.
This
him.
is
Yeah, He's
awesome!
really into it.
Fib looks really unimpressed with it.
I'm just like, this is great. Isn't this awesome?
Yeah, I'm
She
just
has like
glaring at their
her
excitement.
hand on her hips and like looking around like, eh.
As soon as we get there, you see me just kind of like swat at the hummingbird that's on my horn, and as soon as my hand touches it, it just poofs away, and then I grab my hood and pull it over, and just kind of like recede back into my hood. It's too bright.
Okay.
Too bright for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a sensory overload, right? Because like there's the blazing sun beating down on you. There are the sounds of the harbor all around, creaking ropes and waves breaking against the boats and the walls, like the retaining walls that keep them out of the city. Barrels rolling across the cobblestone ground, and you hear a number of voices shouting, maybe cursing, in a language that I don't think any of you are familiar with, filled with clicking sounds, inhalations, and sing-songy words that make it sound almost musical at times. The aroma of unfamiliar spices and tropical fruit mixes with the wharfside smells of fish, tar, and canvas. Beyond all of that, though, Port Nyanzaru is an explosion of color. Buildings are painted in bright shades of blue, green, orange, and salmon pink, where their walls are adorned with murals portraying giant reptiles and mythical heroes. Every building sports baskets and clay urns of colorful flowers or is draped in leafy flowering vines. Minstrels in bright clothing adorned with feathers and shells perform on the street corners. Multicolored pennants and sun awnings flutter atop the city walls. And as you kind of take in your surroundings, a crowd of children dressed in feathered hats and capes races past you, squealing in delighted terror as a
I
street
tripped one of
performer. Okay. So you trip the kid, and the guy who's like chasing them in what looks like a big, like, oversized reptile costume kind of like trips over the kid. So like picture somebody in one of those like T-Rex costumes, right?
You do.
So T-Rex just like biffs it in front of you.
Fib just gives
I'm
a
just like,
little
oh no!
smile.
And I start helping them up.
I roll my eyes. Ugh. It's like she can't take a joke.
Yeah, Treehugger helps him up, but he's still laughing. He's oh no, you fall. Oh.
All right, the kid like kind of stands up, dusts himself off. There's like maybe a little scuff on his elbow, but you know, overall he's in decent shape. The guy in what's basically a T-Rex costume that was running behind also kind of like gets up, dusts himself off, and then kind of like awkwardly looking around, looks down at the kid and goes, "Rah!" and continues like chasing the kid away. But yeah, so the whole city is just like bustling with all this activity. and you kind of look above and see, instead of the normal, dock rats, if you will, like seagulls and shit, you look up and you see parrots. Lots and lots of parrots.
Do we get pooped on?
Probably not too much.
Okay.
I didn't.
No, I do not get pooped on. But yeah, so kind of giving you all your moment to take in the surroundings. Once
Can't do it with advantage.
I don't know how to not do it with an advantage.
that's like a built-in thing. So basically, we'll just leave it as is. So actually, I'd probably change that back, Laura.
Change what back?
Oh, right, I imported yours, so you didn't actually change it. It just did that. The advantage thing. Well, I'll sort that out later. But yeah, the auto advantage thing is like a built-in feature of the Tomb module. So if a roll is not at advantage or disadvantage, we'll obviously just take the first one. But yeah,
It just assumes that you'll have advantage.
Or
well,
disadvantage.
Yeah, it doesn't actually default to one or the other. It just gives you two numbers in case, so you don't have to click twice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah. So, yeah, after giving you guys a moment to kind of take in all the sights and sounds and everything, Syndra speaks up and says, "Welcome to Port Nyanzaru. Quite the spectacle, to be sure. Well, I should be off to see my friend Wakanga, but as a first order of business, I would suggest that you find living arrangements for yourselves for your time in the city. I might suggest either Kaya's House of Repose, if you're looking for more restful sleeping arrangements, or the Thundering Lizard if you're, well, on the more adventurous side of adventurers. If you need to discuss anything with me, simply ask to be directed to the Merchant's Ward, specifically to the house of Wakanga Otamu. That's where I will be for the foreseeable future. Be safe." And
Okay.
you watch as she kind of just disappears.
Bye-bye.
So here you are.
So I look around at everybody and I'm just kind of like, where we go?
I don't think we've introduced ourselves. We just kind of met, so I'm Sirene.
People call me Tree Hugger.
That was in character. She laughed rudely.
I'm Lucius.
You can call me Thorb.
Fibblestib Shadow Cloak.
Well, it's nice to meet all of you.
Is good.
What's nice about it?
Now we have names. That's what's nice.
Well, if we're going on a journey, it's nice to have companions.
Oh, yes. We'll take down bigger enemies that way. Good point.
Yeah.
I'm just in it for the magical items.
I mean,
That's a
someday you
noble
might
reason.
need to be resurrected.
Oh, dear child. Alright, let's head out to this thundering lizard.
You just see me kind of wave my hand, and in what was your Serene?
Sirene?
Saren Ray.
Yeah, Saren Ray.
Alright, in your head you hear, is that something that you could do? Resurrection.
Not yet. My mother can.
Aww.
You didn't
Yeah,
hear.
you didn't hear
Wait,
that.
so
Yeah, well,
okay.
oh, Fib would not have made that noise over that.
Oh.
And I just kind of give a nod.
Okay. And around this time, you hear a series of loud footfalls, as though those of, I don't know, some really large creatures. And soon thereafter, rounding the corner, down the dock from you a bit, you, well, you see something that you probably haven't seen anywhere else in the world. Which is to say, this.
What?
Oh, cool.
What?
Yay!
What?
A number of massive scaled creatures being ridden by what look like humans, seemingly in a race.
Are they coming towards us?
Are we in their way?
Yeah.
I want one.
Yeah,
As you look around and kind of gauge your surroundings a bit, you can see that there is a line of crates kind of set up that would, in theory, guide them around you, basically.
in theory.
In theory. But yeah, so welcome to Port Nyanzaru. Here's a dinosaur race.
I'm immediately gonna throw my back against the nearest wall, step into the nearest alley, throw my back against the wall, and I will just see through my bird
Okay.
and watch what's going on. Kind of get like a drone view.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they're gonna avoid me, I'm just gonna stay there and watch. Like, am I in like a spectator area?
I mean, it is basically like the docks, but there's just it's like you know how people set up hay bales and stuff for
Yeah.
car races. You're like, you know, on the proper side of the hay bales, so to speak.
Good.
It looks like the demon one got a little scared.
Yeah, I run right up to where the hay bales are and start cheering. I'm super excited. Like, hands me the team flag, and I'm like all over that. And I end up having a kid on my shoulders, and I'm just like, I'm into
Oh, I want to push that kid off so badly.
it.
But yeah, so these massive scaled creatures go barreling past, like shaking the dock that you're standing on as they do so. And yeah, the whole crowd that is now assembled around the perimeter of this kind of makeshift racetrack is just going crazy every time one of them passes by.
Myself included.
There you go.
I'm just watching with wide eyes, also cheering.
And I
Me and
keep like
Treehugger
looking
are,
back
like-
to you guys. Like, I keep looking back at you guys like, what do you, like, are you not seeing this? Like, I can't believe you're not as excited as I am.
I'm just standing off to the side with my arms crossed.
I'm trying to figure out how to get one.
How tall is Tree Hugger?
He's 6'9".
Oh,
I'm taller than you.
Yeah.
Is there like someone handing out like fantasy brochures or something, or like a newspaper?
So probably not like a newspaper, but there is what seems like a bookie, basically, walking around taking bets. And for reference, so you guys can sort of picture what's going on here. Here are some sampled Chultons.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is kind of what the crowd looks like.
So we stick out quite a bit.
A bit.
I especially stick out.
I'm freaking blue.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean,
Is there? I look around for if someone had like set their headpiece down and just like for a minute or something, or something like that.
Okay. Let's see here. So yeah, you look around and you see what looks like maybe a father kind of like tending to one of his kids, maybe helping him break up like a little bit of food or something that he bought from a nearby vendor. And resting on the crate that's kind of forming that barrier, you can see basically like a blue headscarf.
I'm just gonna go and just sneakily go over there and just take it for a minute.
Just for a minute?
Yeah,
Okay. Go ahead and... I mean, it's not weird that you'd be there. You're weird looking, So let's go sleight of hand. It's not gonna be disadvantage. Oh, never mind.
Well,
So the kid who's being helped out like just watches you and your like long strides coming over, and his eyes go wide and like his mouth hangs open, a little bit of food just like tumbles out, and he's just like pointing over his dad's shoulder like and the dad turns around and kind of like turns looking at about eye level for him, and then you see his eyes kind of like track upward.
I'm up here. Oh.
Hello.
Don't mind me. I was just going to borrow this for just a minute. Go back to tending your whatever. It's fine. Go feed your child. He looks hungry.
There's tell you what, make an intimidation check. Even if it's not intentional, make an intimidation check.
Oh. I never have proficiency in intimidation. Or I could do a performance check.
I don't know about that one.
Real.
But I think I think you just get this puzzled look and like raised eyebrows, still just very suspicious of you. But you get this like hesitant kind of nod, like okay, kind of gestures for you to go on with whatever you were doing.
I awkwardly just turn around and walk back to the group. And I hold my hand up to block out the sun. I look very irritated while doing so.
You
Alright.
just see me reach up and like touch my hood, and like from my hood down to about my shoulders just turns white.
Oh. Why?
Just because we're in a lighter place, I don't want to get too hot. So.
Okay. So, it looks like the dinosaur races have passed for the time being. The crowd is kind of starting to disperse. Maybe you just caught the last lap or something. But yeah, looking around, you do see this sizable port city sprawled out in front of you.
So I come back over to the group, and I've obtained like a T-shirt and like a little racing flag and all that. And race over. Maybe we go find Inno.
I come back with like a headscarf, and then I see.
Oh, you have fun too.
Like, we were kindred spirits.
Right.
I see Fib shielding herself, and I'd be like, here! And I can't reach her, but I'm like, use this.
How
Like
tall are
tiptoes.
I'm 5'4".
Oh my god! I'm almost 2 feet taller than you.
You're definitely the largest of our group.
Yeah. Alright. Viv reaches down and takes it. Thank you, young lady. She puts it on, and she looks a little relieved.
But she also looks like unclassy because it's like, a sports thing. Like,
Yeah. She hates that it's, oh, actually, could I use minor illusion to make it black? I can just put the
Sure.
illusion of a scarf on, but it'll be a black scarf.
Sure.
Yay! So it's black now.
Okay.
will it return back to normal?
Oh, it's fine. And she drops it for a second and then puts it back up.
Okay.
I'm just standing in the shade created by the two giant people.
well, I'm very tall, but I'm very, very skinny. So I don't know how much shade I could provide.
I'm only 4 feet tall. I don't need much.
But you're probably pretty
You're
wide.
wide.
But yeah, no, Fib's just walking around here looking like a Dark Souls boss, like that long, creepy, surreal thing going on.
Okay. Where's Inn? You know where Inn is? I'm looking at everyone. Let's go to find Inn. Or do we need to stay in city, or should we go?
Go where?
Go find artifact. Let's.
But young man, we need a place to sleep.
Okay, let's go to Inn.
Alright.
The lizard one.
Alright, you seem like a very social fellow. Why don't you find out where it is?
Oh, okay.
Is there like a shopkeeper around?
There are some food vendors kind of set up still. Maybe beginning to take down their stalls a little bit as the race has come to an end, but they're still, accessible.
I'll walk up to one and be like, "Hi, do you know where the what's the place called?
Thundering Lizard.
Do you know where the Thundering Lizard is?"
There's kind of there's a look of slowly processing what you're saying, and after like 10 to 15 seconds of kind of thinking through what he just heard, he kind of slowly begins to string together a sentence in common. You gather it's most definitely not his first language, but what he is able to kind of get out to you is east, kind of, points in one direction that, I mean, for all you know, could not be east at all, because, teleportation and stuff. But it says, east, Market Ward.
Thank you. I'll head back, and he's like, he said it's to the east in the Market Ward?
Alright, let's set off then.
Alright, and so you begin your journey across the city of Port Nyanzaru. And let's see. Let me see what you pass by on the way there. So,
Random table?
no, not random table. Just looking at the map and kind of seeing what cool landmarks you guys might see on the way.
Alright.
So, as you leave the
Dinosaur
docks, as you leave the area with the docks, you pass through a large, finely made stone archway. There's in fact a wall that kind of surrounds this entire district, separating it from the rest of the city. As soon as you clear that archway and round the corner, you see in front of you a massive arena-type building, a massive coliseum, and it doesn't look or sound like anyone is currently using the space, but you can see situated all around are various weapons of all makes and ages and origins. You gather that this is probably a gladiatorial type setup, and that perhaps this is another one of the pastimes of the local people. You kind of end up skirting around what looks like a block of residential buildings and finding what probably passes for a main thoroughfare through this sort of cramped part of town. And after probably a half mile or so, you come to sort of an open square with a number of colorful tents set up. Most of them some shade of red. And here you see a bunch of vendors seemingly selling all manner of products, from food, meat, vegetables, tropical fruit, beverages, clothing, other assorted adventuring gear. But perhaps more noteworthy, just beyond the large canopy tents that are sheltering these merchants, you see a two-story building, in front of which, kind of attached to the doorway, is situated a large reptilian skull, complete with big pointy teeth. The skull itself is propped open and seems to lead in to the door, as though you're being devoured by the giant lizard as you enter. And hung above the skull, you see a sign that reads, "The Thundering Lizard."
Ooh, that's a cool
I
sign.
want to examine the skull.
Okay.
Does it look real?
For what? Make a nature check. That certainly seems like real bone.
Okay, yeah, that was what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's like one of the creatures that you saw in the race, but bigger. Much bigger.
And this is
Alright, well, I head right
this
in.
is the Thunder
Okay.
Dragon?
The Thundering Lizard.
Gotcha.
It's a T-Rex.
I go right in, and I feel very. It's
You feel
so
very
bright
what?
outside. Relieved. Is it bright inside?
No, it's not. It's a much shadier bar atmosphere. I mean, there are some open windows and things, but certainly a lot more sheltered than the pounding sun outside.
I'm actually
The taller members of the party have to stoop a bit to get through the teeth.
I'm gonna run next door
I do. Oh.
to the clothing shop, and
I missed part of that. What was
I
that?
said I'm gonna run next door to the clothing shop.
Okay.
So, but you could do the rest of the bar thing. I'm just saying.
All right.
I do the cool hit the top of the doorway thing as I enter.
Oh yeah, you're so cool.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
It's very
Yeah,
cool.
super cool.
Well,
You know
I
what
guess
I mean?
when I see Fib do it, I'm like, oh, that must be what I'm supposed to do, so I also do that.
I
You
tried
look like
to
a
jump to do
poser,
it,
though.
but I can't.
Aw.
I don't even try.
Okay. So yeah, you walk in and see this pretty busy bar. Looks like there are. It's kind of like a floor and a half dedicated to the bar tavern situation, and like the back half of the second floor is what looks to be the lodging area for those who would like a room. Very, very loud in here. Lots of already quite drunk people, probably a lot of whom just came from the Chilton equivalent of a NASCAR race. And yeah, like I think all the tables are pretty well occupied. There's like a crowd assembling around the bar. You kind of have to squeeze in wherever you can fit. So, what's the game plan here?
I think Tree Huggers just going up, trying to figure out who's in charge.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just trying to kind of squeezing in pretty non-aggressively, you know.
Yeah.
So if people shove in front of him, he's kind of, but he is trying to get up there.
Okay.
You're just using your size advantage that people just kind of.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Without being aggressive about it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it would seem like the lady with all those bottles back behind the counter is probably pretty important. There seem to be a lot of people wanting to talk to her. So.
Okay. So yeah, I'll make my way towards her then.
Okay. So we get that like this awkward 5 minutes. Excuse me, pardon me.
Yeah.
Coming through.
Didn't see you there.
Yeah. Whoop. Whoop. Whoop.
Oh, let me just sneak by it there.
So Canadian.
Yeah.
Also Michigan. Some people
Midwest.
from Michigan say, "Oop, let me just sneak by."
Yeah.
So do Canadians.
It's a Midwest
Fine,
thing.
we love Canadians.
We do.
Well, they're okay.
No, we love them.
So eventually, you do kind of reach the front of the crowd that's amassed around the bar, and at this point, you've pretty easily picked up that the bartender's name is Kwalu. She's a like a middle-aged woman, kind of darker complexion, a series of long braids kind of hanging down her back, and she is serving drinks and taking food orders about as fast as you've seen anyone do that sort of thing. Finally, though, she does get around to you, and almost kind of instinctually, she just says, "How about you? What can I get for you?"
I like your braids. You like mine?
She kind of seems taken aback, and yes, they're very nice.
We're friends now.
Just so you know.
I have other friends. They need place to sleep. You can help?
It sounds like you're just trying to get like a free room. We're friends. I need a place to sleep.
I mean,
We're friends. I'm sleeping on your couch tonight, right? That's cool.
You can help?
She says, yeah. How many rooms do you need?
We take five rooms.
All right. That'll be 2 gold, 5 silver.
Okay, I'll be back, and I go back to whoever I see first.
Okay, wading through the crowd.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I can just go back to everyone, and I'm like, she wants money. I don't have money.
How much?
You don't have money. What you get things with?
I just find things, but I can sleep outside. It's okay. We can all sleep outside. Or you can give her 2 gold and 5 silver. That's what she wants.
I
My
will
friend,
go for a room.
my friendship wasn't good enough to get to get a room. But
Young
okay.
man, you place too much value on friendship, I think.
Look, I'm no Taya Gardner. I just was hoping. I just was hoping. It's okay. Okay. Let's yeah, I'll take you I'll show you her. Do you see her?
Why don't you lead the way?
Okay. I'm like a snowplow. You follow behind.
Yes, I know what that is. Let's go.
Okay. So I snowplow you over there.
Is
Okay.
everyone else following?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
follow in the wake that they leave behind them.
Yeah, so these two characters who both stand like a foot higher than anyone else in this bar just kind of push their way back to the front.
I feel like people might like be like, he looks nice, and then glance behind him, and they're like, no, back up, back up.
Yeah.
Alright, so we get up there then.
Mm-hmm. And she kind of looks at you and says, yeah, so about those rooms?
I will put down a gold and be like, this is for me and for him.
Alright.
How much gold is it for?
Yeah, you cut out there.
It's a silver for each, 5 silver for each person.
5 silver. Okay, I put down 5.
Okay.
I'll take 5 silver as well.
Okay.
Are we only intending to sleep here for one night? What is the point of that? Why don't we just leave?
I mean, I think it'll take a day to get everything we need.
Alright.
Alright, and so you guys are going to let Lucius kind of take care of himself when he gets back?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will ask for some water. In
Okay.
the bar.
Yeah, it's easy enough. She says, from out of town, are you?
Well, I look at myself and be like, yes.
What gave us away?
She says, word to the wise, if you're gonna drink water in Chult, make sure it's rainwater,
Okay.
or that you boil it first.
We would like rainwater then.
She says, that's the only kind that we serve here. That's fine. Just if you happen to come across any of the rivers and streams as you're venturing around the extremities of the city, don't be tempted to drink from them, please.
Okay.
Nobody likes
What's
throat
wrong
leeches.
with the water?
I mean, if I
Oh.
boil it, is that okay?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it kills the throat leeches.
So
Oh,
then we'll just be
okay.
eating them, but they won't be harming us.
Exactly.
Protein. Good protein.
I've drank worse than that before.
No, I don't think it'll be a problem.
All right, and she gets you your water and all of that. You eventually a table clears out, and if you so choose, you can kind of congregate there for the time being.
Yeah, we can wait for Lucius here.
Okay. Yeah, and so as that's kind of resolved, we head next door to a clothing stall.
I walk up to. Is it like it's just a stall? So like it's basically just a window.
So this would be under those like canopy tent sort of things. It's like a wooden stand, really.
Okay. Do they have like clothing like set out at all, or is it just you walk up and?
Yeah, a lot of it's kind of like folded and sort of piled along the various tiers of countertop that they have.
Looking basically for what I already am wearing in white.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So just a full length,
Right.
like body. I guess like a suit kind of thing.
I don't know if
Not
it would be
suit,
considered
but,
a
you know,
suit. It's
like
probably...
like a full length.
Yeah. No, I got you. Okay. So let's see here. It's not super expensive. It's like, let's see. My stuff is not coming up as intended, but let's say it's like a couple copper. It's just like a set of clothes. It's not too much.
So I'll say that, and I'll say 5 copper.
Yeah, that's more than reasonable.
Well, can I also pick up a head wrapping, like a turban, something that would cover my horns?
Yeah, sure. We'll say. I think the 5 is fine.
All right. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll put both of those on and just shove my black ones in my pack.
Okay.
So and then I'll head back into the
And
bar.
was that it? Cool. All right. So you do that. You see your companions having found a table and situated themselves, and yeah.
Lucius, we're over here. Like, start waving.
I'll walk over and join them.
They have rainwater here.
Oh,
Do you like throat leashes?
never tried it, but no.
Well, apparently that's in their water.
And nobody likes those.
If you boil them first, they're okay.
Yes, protein.
I can purify our food and drink. So
Well, I don't
Whoa.
think that will take care of the throat leeches, honey.
I can also create water.
Oh yes, that might be useful.
Is your water cold?
It can be.
Okay.
I didn't realize we were among royalty. You need cold water.
No, you dolt. The reason I was asking is I can make it hot or cold.
Ooh.
Well, isn't that fancy?
Indeed it is.
You kind of like have a Sean Connery thing going on.
What? I don't get it.
There's something underneath your voice. I was trying to figure out what it was and it reminded me of.
What do you mean? That's your normal voice.
Is this my normal voice? Or are you making fun of my voice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of how I speak? This is how I always speak.
I don't know if it's like the mic is doing something or what.
No, it's definitely Laura.
It's Laura.
Okay.
I don't know how Sean Connery speaks. That's why I got confused. What's he in?
He was
James
James
Bond.
Bond.
Oh yeah,
Indiana
I don't watch
Jones'
those.
father.
Indiana Jones has a dad.
Yeah, and it's Sean Connery.
Oh, all right. I trust you.
Right.
What else
So,
is he in?
carrying on.
Yeah, so do we have anything we need to discuss while we're sitting here?
Well, we should probably discuss our plan. So, we're here to find the source of whatever is causing the death curse thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's somewhere on this peninsula.
Right.
So we should probably get supplies and maybe find a guide.
Yeah.
Look for Sam Swift.
Yeah, we probably need to talk to whoever the lady said, like the house she's staying at. I don't remember the guy's name.
That didn't sound very in character of you.
I didn't know we were in character.
I'm in character.
Oh, he was in. Okay, he's Draco. From Dragonheart.
He was? Oh, yeah,
Draco
yeah,
from
yeah.
the movie Dragonheart. That's the dragon.
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess he is.
that's
That's what I know him from.
Now do you understand?
Yeah, that is kind of like that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. John Connery's voice is great. Very iconic. Alright, well, so what's our plan then? Since I guess I have to say all this in character.
Well, I appreciate you discussing it with us and not just assuming we know what you're saying.
Of course. So we need to meet with the friend of Quest Giver lady.
Yes, her name is Shindra Shilbane.
Yes. Yep. So maybe we make that our first stop.
Yes, why not?
Alright.
All right, and
Yeah,
around
yeah.
this time, not the barkeep, but somebody else that you've seen kind of wandering around, well, more like darting around, waiting on all the tables, comes by, and drops off a glass, and kind of sets it in front of Lucius, and then holds out an open hand.
And I'll say, and how much is a room?
That'll be 5 silver.
I'll pull out 6 and give it to them.
Ooh, high roller over here.
Yeah. And she hands you a key to a room, which the rest of you have also received in this transaction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. And with a nod and a thank you in return, she just darts back to presumably the kitchen to grab some other order.
I will grab the glass and inspect it, and I'm gonna cast Prestidigitation and make sure it's clean. I'm gonna look over at. Oh god, it's gonna take me forever to get your name right. Cyrene.
Cyrene.
Saren Ray.
And I'm gonna say
Siri.
Cyrene. Got it.
Like Siri, but a horse.
Like she
Saren.
friggin' loves
Yes.
iPhone.
Cyrene.
Alright, anyway, I'm gonna look at you and say, can I get some water?
I'm looking.
Oh.
She has rainwater available.
Is that what you're drinking? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll get some rainwater.
I like that you wanted her to waste a spell slot rather than just
I don't.
ask for
She
water.
said she can make water, so I'd rather trust her making water than. And
Do you know what make water
in character,
means?
in character, I have no idea.
I mean, maybe he's kinky, all right?
No, I know she's.
Stop! You can't hit on her
No.
already.
I know that she's she's a woman of the cloth. Because of
Wait, is she?
because I talked to her. Yes.
How
So
did I tell
yeah,
you this?
you said that your mom can revive, and that's kind of up your alley.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fair.
How old are you, Becca?
I look pretty young.
Like 16?
Like 18.
Okay.
Barely legal, if you will.
Yeah. I'm so old, I think. I'm like 45. But I'm an elf, so...
I'm 50.
Yeah, it's
So you're really young too. Gosh.
50.
Yeah.
For
As a
dwarf.
dwarf, you
Yeah.
just hit. You
Yeah,
just
young for a
finished
dwarf, yeah.
adolescence. You're
You
like the
just
same
hit
age as
puberty.
me. As a dwarf, you're the same age as I am.
wait. I have my height as 7 foot.
No, John, don't make it 7 feet.
Why?
Are you gonna keep it 7 feet?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna be 7'3" then.
Well, I said 7'9". Because my people are between 7 and 8 feet tall.
Ah,
I just thought I made a 69 joke, but apparently I didn't.
okay. So you're 7 feet.
7'9", yeah.
John, I was excited.
Why
to
are
tell-
you determined?
I wanted to be taller than you because I think it would be funny that like you're like this big beefy boy and I'm like just like whoop, above you because I'm so weird and skinny.
Fine, I'll
fine.
be 7 foot.
Yay! Okay, I'm 7'3".
Yeah.
Glad we got that resolved. So, yeah, you sit there, and eventually Lucius gets his water and all of that. So did you guys want to go and see this friend of a friend?
Yeah.
I drink my
Oh, yeah,
water first.
Oh yeah, I do that.
Okay.
What a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody gets nice and hydrated. You know, good to go. And does anybody remember the name of the guy that you're looking for? I'm not going to be an asshole.
Kalu.
It's Wakanga.
Hey, I wrote that down somewhere. If
Uh.
you'd given me enough. Wakango Utano.
Close. Close. It's like, yeah, it's like a solid B.
I got it. Yay! That's a passing grade.
Let's see here. So let me find how his name is actually written out, and I'll put that in chat just in case you guys want to, like, you know, keep notes or whatever.
No notes.
Okay.
Just dying.
Right.
I'm looking up how what the average weight is for someone who's 7'3", and all of these tables don't go up to that. I'm too tall for them. If I was 6'4", then I'd know what I should weigh. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's for men though. I should
We'll
weigh
just drop 20 pounds
0.
and you'll be okay.
I mean, if you're 7 foot, you should
Okay.
be probably 300 pounds. But if
What?
you're an elf, maybe 200.
That's so much. Okay, I'm very, very skinny. Oh, I think I found it. Oh, nope, that only goes up to 6'4".
Can't you just like kind of guesstimate based on how much the weight and height increases?
Oh, you're right.
Extrapolate the information.
Yeah.
Do math.
I don't know what these numbers mean. Oh, I think these are ages.
Right.
So,
I'll just be 240 pounds.
Let's head out.
Alright. I follow you.
Being
Alright.
that I have a kind of a researcher background,
mm-hmm.
do we know where this guy lives?
Well, you were told that he lives in the Merchant's Ward.
All right. Can I use my researcher background to attempt to to find out where this place is?
I mean, I figure we can get to the Merchant's Ward and then ask.
I'm just saying. I would like to employ that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's easy enough to ask around and at least get directions to the general area of the Merchant's Ward, which is kind of across town from where you are right now. You're kind of on the east side, and the Merchant's Ward is, as far as things inside the perimeter walls go, pretty much the last stop toward the west. So it's another relatively long walk. You kind of trace the outside of the city, just, you know, following the perimeter wall for the majority of your journey.
I'm like a little kid, and I'm like running back and forth through the crowd looking at all the strange things I've never seen before.
Okay.
Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this.
All right. So, yeah, you passed through the neighborhood that you went through on the way here from the docks, And then, rather than going back into the enclosed dock district, you continue around the perimeter, passing by what looks like another marketplace. This one even larger than the one in front of the Thundering Lizard. So much so that there is basically a Y-shaped tent that extends for about half a mile at each arm of the Y, and you can look in there and see again all manner of vendors, just different tradesfolk and the like. Basically anything you could imagine that you might want to buy, you could probably find somewhere in the like mile and a half of merchant-lined tent that is contained under there.
I want to go look for one selling the dinosaurs.
Okay. So yeah, you walk in, and looking around, I think you see a number of the these scaly lizard creatures being used as pack animals. Like there are a few different four-legged varieties that have all sorts of saddlebags and that sort of thing slung over their backs. And you do eventually reach one wooden stall that, while you don't see any of these creatures like tied off behind it or anything, there is a series of pictures of these creatures kind of drawn on the sign that that sits above the merchant's window.
Hello, where can I get one of these creatures?
The older gentleman behind the stand kind of looks you over and says, let me guess. First time in Chult, and you've fallen in love already, yes?
Yes.
He says, if you're looking to buy one of these beasts, you should go to the Tariki Anchorage, outside the walls. You see one of my employers. They have a stable of sorts just outside the walls. You can't miss it.
Do they roam wild throughout the area?
Some can be found out in the jungles, but they are difficult to tame.
Good to know. Okay, I'll check with them.
Very well. Best of luck. Right. So that's the thing. Unless anybody would like to make any other stops, you guys kind of keep going, passing by the base of a large hill that kind of just juts up out of the ground and is kind of home to another small tier of the city. You pass under a few stone bridges, and eventually, after kind of having to circumnavigate the majority of this district, you work your way back around to what is basically another set of docks. And let's see here. Yeah, pretty much the only ground level entrance to the Merchant's Ward. So you've effectively walked all the way across town. And ascending the steps to this part of town, you immediately gather that this is where the important folks live. Where there were small, cramped buildings kind of just jammed together in a lot of the neighborhoods that you traverse to get through here. Here you see large buildings, sometimes multiple buildings on one property, but built with considerably more care than a lot of the others that you've seen. Looking around, you can see that there are probably half a dozen or so houses in this district, which, by the way, is not all that big. There are half a dozen or so that stand out more than even their neighbors here. And as you kind of stand there just looking around, what looks to be maybe a guard or maybe a bodyguard or something, an armed individual with a large wooden shield and like kind of a half-length spear walks up to you and says, "Hello, travelers. Are you lost?"
We're looking for the house of Wakangu Otamu.
You have business with one of the merchant princes.
We do. We are friends of a friend, and he told us to find him here.
Well, I can escort you there. Typically,
fabulous.
Typically the princes don't see many visitors without appointments, so maybe best if I verify once we arrive.
Oh, that sounds good.
Right. And he leads you kind of around the corner to one of the more regal-looking estates in the neighborhood. And let's see. So you all right. You walk through the like perimeter wall of the property, and you see a large stone building that seems to be lit from a variety of strange locations. And as you try to make sense of it, kind of passing into an interior vestibule entryway sort of situation, you can see that there are actual flames just sort of hovering up in some of the corners here and there, seemingly just burning on no fuel. There's also soft music that just sort of seems to emanate through this part of the house, sourceless, as though it's kind of coming from nowhere and everywhere at the same time.
I pull my pan flute out and I try to match the tune.
Okay, make a performance check.
I'm good at these ones. Yay!
All right, yeah. So you do a pretty good job hanging with it. You know, like there's kind of a central theme to the music, and you're able to kind of play appropriate, tasteful, like call and response stuff, kind of threading in with the music that's going on. Yeah. So the armed individual that led you here approaches one of the two similarly clad gentleman standing at the entryway and says, "Does Wakanga have any expected visitors today?" You just hear the conversation about, "Oh, well, I heard someone might be dropping by. These seem to fit the description." One kind of like sizing up the oddball group that he's looking at. And says, "One moment, I'll go fetch Wakanga." And a few minutes later, emerging from a room toward the rear of the house, kind of obscured by curtains and kind of a subtle haze of just the light smoke, kind of herbal smelling, low-hanging smoke. There is a figure. And I'm going to find that figure and show you what he looks like.
Basically,
if that's a thing I can do.
And like just fucking smoke rolls out.
I mean, it's not like
Okay,
Snoop Dogg levels, but
yeah, I was picturing like Snoop Dogg like fucking open the door and just billowing clouds.
Let's see here.
I was imagining it having like a slightly purple tinge.
Some
Purple
Me too.
haze.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, so you see, standing there,
Oh hell yeah, that's
Wakanga Otamu.
That's
Oh
fucking
my
Snoop Dogg.
goodness.
Dude, that's high as shit. Just in the picture.
That gold
Yes.
lipstick.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry, but it's that picture.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
All right.
Um, so he walks out and says, "Greetings, visitors."
Hello.
I take it you are the friends of my friend Syndra.
Yeah.
This means we are friends.
Yes, we're all friends here.
I like your beard. As braids and decoration like mine.
Sort of gives like a deep chuckle, and he says, "And I like yours."
Thank you. Nice man.
Tree
Yeah.
Hugger is so pure.
He is.
A little bit of smoke like kind of emanates from Wakanga's nostrils, and he says, "So, I hope the city has been treating you well so far."
We saw a pretty exciting race earlier.
Ah, yes, it is that time of the week already. I wish I had been able to catch the race, but alas, if you spend any length of time here in Port Nyanzaru, you will surely have the opportunity to watch a few more. But I believe we have more serious business to address.
Yep.
Yes, that's true. And then I use Gust, which allows me to make a harmless sensory effect with air, so I also blow smoke out of my nostrils.
You just want to be just like Wakanga when you grow up, huh?
Yeah, well, you know,
John,
I'm
how
trying
old
to
is your
show-
character?
he's like 40 something, but
Oh my god.
but his people live to be like 500, I think. So he's like a kind of fresh out of college age, basically. But he's not familiar with like most, so everything's new and exciting to him.
Mhm.
It's part of why he was chosen, is because excited about civilizations. So
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So Wakanga says, I'll be happy to assist you in any way that I can as you go about your business here in Jolt. At the very least, I believe I can point you in the direction of a few capable individuals might make your navigation of the jungles a bit easier. I think that would be a good place to start, yes?
That would be
Sure.
fantastic.
Very well. And he actually turns around and kind of ducks his head into that back room again. And
We're inside, right?
yeah, you're kind of in like the foyer, if you will.
Send my
The Grand
Send
Foyer.
that bird
Yes.
in when he opens the door.
Well, it's just a curtain. I mean, you could probably just send the bird like under the curtain or something if you really wanted
I
to.
want to try to sneak the bird in, even if it's just like
Okay.
hopping along the ground, just being quiet.
Okay. Yeah, so you're able to do that pretty easily, I would think. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for here.
Show me what I'm looking for. You guys remember that song?
No.
No.
Ah. Ah.
All right.
So okay.
I hate it when things aren't named what they probably should be named.
what you
named
want
what
them
they're
to be
named.
named?
Oh.
Yeah.
You looking for like hummingbird?
Okay, here we go. Okay. So you send the hummingbird in, kind of like probably flitting, through a gap in the curtain. And you see a smoky room with a few very fine, like plush lounges and just generally very fancy looking trappings for the room. And you see a few other denizens in there. A couple of rather attractive Chilton females.
Ooh.
And and also kind of a shorter Chilton male with kind of a close trimmed salt and pepper beard and kind of dark wavy hair.
Ooh.
And as the hummingbird is kind of like looking around and just surveying the room a little bit, you see that Wakanga is actually addressing this guy and kind of gesturing like, "Hey, come here, I've got something to talk about." And you see the guy kind of like slowly get up and make his way across and join Wakanga out in the hallway with the rest of you. And as he emerges, Wakanga says, "I would like you to meet another friend of mine. This is Jobal. He's another man of station in the city. His area of expertise is that of finding scouts and guides for exploring the wilds. I believe he will be able to more than meet your needs with one of his employees."
What was his name? And can you spell that?
Jobal. That is Jobal.
Why all do people go into the jungle?
Over the last few weeks, it has been for business not so different from your own. But more recently, or less recently, those with extra gold to spend have been known to treat Schult as an exotic travel destination. Jobal's employees are the ones responsible for making sure they come back in one piece.
Okay.
And so Jobal kind of approaches, taking over this little bit of the conversation, says, "So, you are traveling deep into the jungle."
Well, traveling deep to, well, wherever we need to be. So whether or not that's deep, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's the
sorry,
thing.
point of order. Have we had
Yeah.
any indication that we need to go into the jungle?
Well, you have been informed that the source of the death curse seems to be coming from some as yet unknown point in Schult.
Oh, okay.
So given that Port Nyanzaru is kind of the civilization in this area,
Mm.
chances are, if there's some crazy necromantic bullshit going on, it would have been rooted out if it was in the only place where people exist.
Right.
And I think actually part of what the Harpers relayed to Syndra was it was from somewhere distant.
Okay.
So most likely deep in the jungle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he says, I will have to set you up with one of my best scouts then. And he actually kind of ducks back into the back room as well and returns with basically a sheaf of small bits of parchment. And on said bits of parchment, there are a number of pictures and basically sales pitches as over half a dozen guides are kind of vying for your business. So let me get all of these open, and then I will show all of them to you.
Oh gosh. All these people want this dangerous job?
Well, it's what they do for a living. So let's see. We've got. Yeah, this will work. And that one. And that one.
Kitty.
And that one.
Ooh,
That's
that one
not
looks like
Kitty.
Dane.
And that one.
Hugh Hackenstone.
That one looked more like Dane.
Well, no, it wasn't Dane all furry and nasty looking.
Oh, yeah, like late
Yeah.
game Dane.
Oh my.
Every time you say Dane, I think you mean Dane from the City of Shorn. As the first Eberron book.
Any more?
The last one should be Azaka.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh man, there are 6 million.
Yeah, and Joe Ball says, and I can vouch for every single one of them. They will not steer you astray. More than I can say for the supposed competition out of Fort
I'll
Belurian.
hold up the River Mist and Flask of Wine one and say, why does the first sentence of this say, beware Jobal and his no good flunkies?
He looks down and says, those sons of bitches.
I like these guys.
Oh.
These guys got my vote.
He cussed.
There will be words about this, and he tries to like grab it back from your hand.
I'm not gonna let him. I would like to try to avoid that.
Okay, I mean, there's kind of a sour look on his face.
Let me finish reading it, then I'll give it back to you.
Okay.
I know which one Thor wants.
Alright, I'll hand it back to him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he takes it and like crumples it up.
Alright.
So yeah, I know there's a lot of reading to be done here, but you guys take your time, do that, and once you're done there, we'll talk through it.
I like those guys. I already closed the thing though because he took it and shredded it.
And I think he says, well, those two will be more than likely out of business by day's end.
Alright, I know who I want.
Alright.
I'll wait for you guys.
I want to guess who everyone wants.
Okay, guess who I want?
I think you want.
Remember that this is Fib, not Laura.
I know. I think you want Faru and Gondolos.
Which ones
So
are
two-
those?
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah.
Oh no, not those two.
Aw, dang it. Well, besides, my first guess would be River Mist and Flask of Wine. What about Hugh Heckenstone?
No.
I like him.
I felt like, you know, you would be attracted by the people with their own Triceratops.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything against Hugh. I just liked someone else better.
I'll hold up Seleda's hand out and I'll say, well, she seems like she's at least got dirt on everybody else, so at least she knows what's going on or acts like she does.
Who?
That's just what I was
Selida?
thinking.
Salida?
Selida.
Oh, there's another one? Oh,
Oh.
I missed her. Never
That's who
mind.
I asked.
So that would be why I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, otherwise you have gotten it, sure.
Yeah.
I like the other dwarf guy too. He'll do it for free.
Oh, ugh. Although, we could agree to do it for him and do it for free, and then just not help him.
What?
We can kill him if we need to.
Yeah, that's fine.
To each their own. I don't want to take any part in killing somebody innocent.
Oh gosh, we're not gonna kill anyone innocent.
He might just accidentally die.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
Better him than us.
We are?
People accidentally dying?
I
Yes.
take a step away from Fib.
Why?
Just take a step away from Fib.
I agreed with you though.
Yeah, I like either Azaka or Musharib.
Dying is just a part of life. There's no reason to be scared of.
Dying is the end of life.
Yeah, I guess for some.
After die, no more life. It's normal to be afraid of dying.
I didn't say it wasn't normal, honey. I said there's no reason.
I just say reason. Do you not listen?
Oh, that's fine.
Um, well, I don't like River Mist and Flask of Wine or Furrow and Gondolo or Hugh Heckenstone.
Well, it's decided then. We'll
wrong
do
with you?
Theta.
So Lita say mean things.
Yes, that's who we want with us. She knows what, and she's not afraid to express it.
I'd rather have somebody tell me like it is than somebody who's going to sugarcoat things or lie to me.
We already have at least one of those.
How do you know she not the one lying?
I guess we'll just have to take that chance.
Then if she's lying and
Well-
she gets herself killed, I feel I can protect myself.
Also, I'm not sure if we have 150 gold to pay up front.
We do not.
Actually,
I have 0.
did we start with any gold?
The normal amount. So you guys should either have your, starting equipment or just roll for your cash.
Roll for cash? How much? I don't know how.
Looks like we're taking the free guy.
You can instead
There's-
of taking starting equipment, you can roll a certain number and times it by a certain amount.
Oh, psh,
With that.
I think I have 5 gold. Oh, I have 10. Oh no, 5.
Yeah, like even the noble background, the most you end up with is like 20, I think, maybe 15 even. So even combined, we're not gonna have enough
Yeah.
for an
I got-
upfront payment.
I bought mine, so I ended up with 15. I ended up not spending it all.
Yeah.
So we can't do a 30.
We can. That means we can only do Azaka or Mushareb.
No.
We
Yeah,
can do
Selita's fine.
Selita. She only wants 5 gold a day.
Yeah, but how long is that gonna
They're all
last?
5 gold a day, other than.
We'll find more gold. Yeah, but the other ones want it up
Well,
front.
no, but we've got Azaka, Musharib, and Selita that we can afford.
Ugh. Okay, let me
Yeah.
get rid of some of these other ones.
Well, some of them are you
Uh,
trade how much
did we-
a cut of how much gold you find.
Yeah.
But I
River
don't
Mist
want-
doesn't
I
want
don't
it up
that.
front either.
River Mist are.
Okay, which ones are we
he took
looking
that.
at?
But we're
Yeah,
not
he took
doing
that
River
and
Mist
crumpled
now.
it up.
Azaka, Selita,
Musharib.
and
I
Mushari.
don't see Azaka.
What?
I don't see Azaka. What did I do with? Oh, here it is. Oh, I didn't even
Oh.
read hers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Azaka's
Azaka.
could be nice.
Azaka's also born in the jungle, apparently. That's a pretty big
Okay, I'm
advantage.
closing all of these out because they're
Yeah.
everywhere. And...
I just closed
It's
all except the
confusing me.
3 that we're considering.
Okay, so Azaka, Selita, and
Yes,
Mushar.
those are the 3 that we have left.
Okay. Do we feel like helping Musharraf afterwards?
I'm not.
You just ask for a promise. You don't have to keep it.
Well,
Oh yeah, you're right.
we should
I will waive my
keep
fee for
promises.
promise of assistance.
There's nothing wrong with helping out people who help you.
Yeah, so we could do him.
So we're counting out to 5
Watch.
gold a day then, right?
Well, we won't have to pay 5 gold a day if we help
Okay.
him.
Selita's gone. So it's him or Azaka, because they're both free. Or yeah, it's them and it's him and Asaka.
What? Asaka's free? She says she requires gold.
If
No, if you
if
I will
we-
waive my fee and guide them to places no one else has found. This quest is
Oh,
the
hang
same
on.
as
it's just for a personal quest. Same thing as him.
hers. Just sounds a lot easier.
I feel better if it was Mushar.
Why?
How do you say his name? Is it Musharib?
It would be Musharib.
We
Okay.
can't even say his name. Azaka is so much easier.
Plus, Azaka's quest seems a lot simpler.
Plus, if Azaka dies, we can always go back to Musharib.
Yeah.
We can do it the other way too.
I don't know that he's gonna die. He looks like he's already dead.
Yeah, he might just drop dead one day.
He's albino. Oh my goodness.
Guys. He doesn't have red eyes.
Well, he's not. He doesn't have to be fully albino.
How do you know he's
I mean,
albino?
He has, blue markings. Selita says so.
Well, Selita sounds like a bit of a bitch.
She really
I'm
is.
sorry.
Yeah, it's fine though.
I mean, she may be right about everything. She's pretty rude too.
But Musharib.
Sorry, I don't trust someone who just smears all. So what? So let's just. Do you want to just put it to a vote?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's do that.
I vote for Azaka.
I'll vote for Azaka.
Musharib.
Musharib.
We all turn to Serene.
Take them both.
She's got both the papers in her hands. Like,
Yeah.
What do I do?
Shall we flip a coin?
I don't have a coin.
Come on, dearie, we don't have all day.
Can we do both and help both of their personal quests?
No, thank you. That would not be desirable.
Why not? More friends.
Mm.
Maybe more loot. You like loot, right?
That'd be
Well,
less
you know
loot.
what? I'll look towards Wakanga, and I'll say, which of those two would you take?
Wakanga looks over at Jabal, whose job
that
this
was.
is.
I'm sorry. It was. Sorry about that.
And yeah, no, it's all good. He says, "Well, between the two of them, I think I find Azaka to be perhaps a bit more desirable, trustworthy. Despite what some others might say, kind of looking at the Salida, ad that you have, she is perhaps one of the guides with the best track record. So she's quite reliable. I would trust her with my life."
Okay, so I vote for Azaka then.
Hooray!
But I will say,
All right.
I'll turn around and say, we might be able to find some magical stuff with Musharib. So we may keep that in mind and help him out anyway.
I agree. Maybe later.
At that point, Wakanga kind of chimes in and says, "Well, if you find any valuables out in the jungle, you could always trade me for some magical equipment as well.
Oh.
That is my area of expertise."
Oh, is it? Alright. I'll have to keep that in mind.
Now we have Radiant Quest too.
What?
A
What
Radiant
are
Quest?
the- What
No.
are the Petra folk?
Terra folk.
Terra folk, sorry.
Little pterodactyls, I'm assuming.
They're bird folk, probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Joe Ball what they are.
Yeah, he says they are abominations, much like the scaled creatures you have seen in our streets, but with wings, and yet humanoid features as well.
So they're like pterodactyl harpies.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Let's not mess with those things. I'd feel much safer underground.
I don't think you have to worry about it. You look pretty heavy.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I can fight them either.
Just wait for one to come and pick you up. You look like a good snack for one.
Or we could avoid this all and be underground instead.
How heavy is Thorv? And I go over and try to pick him up.
How heavy is Thorv?
140.
But you're.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
wearing
I
armor,
forget.
You're
too.
a light dwarf.
Yeah, okay, another 50. So, about 200.
Still
Yeah.
pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, heavy for little bird people. You'll be okay.
Snack for little bird people.
No, too heavy for little bird people. You okay?
Can we
Okay,
put you
so
back down now?
where's? Oh, sorry, I forgot. I missed it. Sorry, I should ask permission next time. I apologize.
You good friend, it's okay.
Okay. And then, where is Azaka? Is she here?
Jabal says, if you have decided that you would like to recruit Azaka, I will send for her. Where have you found your... where have you purchased rooms for the evening? I can have her meet you there in the morning.
The The Thundering Lizard. I think.
Ah,
Yes.
That was the name, right? Yeah, okay.
an interesting choice. But
Thank you.
I shall have her sent there in the morning if that is when you wish to embark.
Yeah, that sounds good. Is that good with everyone?
Morning. Good with me.
That sounds good to me.
That'll work.
Very good. So, I would advise you to spend the rest of the day purchasing supplies that you may need. The jungles can be harsh, and while my guides are quite gifted at what they do, it is not unheard of to wander a bit astray now and then. You should bring more food and water than you expect to use. And perhaps consider means of collecting water, repelling the insects that live in the woods, and whatever else you may need to maintain your health in the journey ahead.
I don't have money to purchase. Can I speak to Azaka today to get help from her? Learn how to navigate jungle and get tips from her ahead of time?
That could be arranged.
Okay.
I will have her visit the Thundering Lizard within the next couple of hours.
Okay, thank you. Does she look like in picture? Just
Yes, very much so.
okay. Look for her.
No, they used the wrong picture on accident.
No.
Hey,
Well,
I
they
don't know.
have very good drawers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Like, yeah. This isn't glamour shot. This is what she really looked like. Alright. Then I'd go right back to the Thundering Lizard then, if we're all set here.
Okay. Well, if nobody has anything else they'd like to attend to,
Oh, I do want to buy, spend the rest of my money and get some supplies, arcane supplies from him.
Yeah, I would like to do some shopping also.
yeah. Okay. So arcane supplies for, just like general like. Are you using components or do you just using a focus?
I do have a focus. Do I have so I don't have to have components then?
Yeah, if you have a focus, you don't need to have any components that basically have no value
So I
or
do
whatever.
Need to spend mine on some charcoal, incense, and herbs then for my find familiar spell.
Gotcha.
I'm going
Okay.
to
Does
end up just going broke on that.
does powdered iron cost anything?
Does it specify in the spell?
No, it just says holy water or powdered silver and iron.
Then if it doesn't specify a cost in the spell description, then you can just use your focus.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So yeah.
Are we doing, like, do you want us to have, like, provisions, like food and stuff? It's like, I don't normally...
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about that because of the nature of this and the fact that you can get lost in the jungle and all this stuff. Yeah, we'll be. It's not going to be like, oh well, how many gallons of water are you bringing with you? It's just going to be basically every day you guys are going to have to either mark off a ration or find some other way of feeding yourselves.
Okay. How much do rations cost, then? Because I have 5
let's-
gold.
Let's see. Rations, 1 day. 5 silver.
Oh, man. I'm gonna go hungry. Oh wait, do I even have to eat?
Good question.
You said it's 5 silver or 1 silver?
Let me double check. Yes, 1 day of rations is 5 silver.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
expensive.
It's basically 2 pounds of food and drink.
I feel like I do not eat 2 pounds of food a day.
But drink in a rainforest?
I don't need it. I just need food. I have lots of
Yeah,
drink.
she produces water.
I look up, do elves eat? And the first thing is, are elves vegan?
That tracks.
I'm
Alright,
pretty sure
So
elves
I'll
eat.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I think
scratch
they
that
do.
for
So,
mine, and I'm just gonna get 5 gold worth of, I think it was herbs and something. No charcoal, because I can find charcoal.
okay. So one thing I would say is if Cyrene can commit to producing enough water for the group, like how much does your spell create?
10 gallons.
10 gallons. Okay, so that is actually just enough to cover you guys.
Except
So-
the person by themselves.
Yeah, I think she can handle her own. You know, like your guide can handle you.
Like,
Less
we
of
don't have
that.
to pay for her food.
Right. So yeah, that should be fine.
As long as I keep a single slot, single first level slot. Yeah.
Words.
One spell
okay.
slot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that being the
Yeah.
case, if you were to just buy the food component of rations, I think we could lower the cost to like 3 silver.
Okay.
Well, hang on, because I could just use Goodberry to feed us every day.
Ah.
Well,
So,
You're so resourceful.
so,
We got this food and water
we got
thing
this
covered.
shit unlocked.
yeah.
We're way ahead of this.
Nice.
Goodberry's literally like up to 10 berries, and after 24 hours they go away, but when you eat one, you're sustained for a day.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
You restore one hit point, so.
So we have sustained good berries and
Sustained water.
yeah. So
Yeah.
We can literally
Alright.
go forever
So-
as long as we have good berries and water.
spell slots.
Well, he doesn't even need a spell.
Nice
now-
accidental party composition, guys.
Woo.
Yeah. And now you guys have to keep us
Yes.
alive.
Aha.
That's valid.
All right.
Yeah. I would,
So-
yeah, tonight I'd have to switch my spells, but I can do that
Yeah, you'll have
anytime,
fun.
long rest, so, yeah.
Cool. Cool how that works out. All right.
Mm.
So I think we can kind of montage a lot of the rest of this stuff.
I want to purchase some things.
Yep, I can be part of it.
Okay.
So after a couple hours, Azaka shows up. She is every bit the badass that she seems like on her handout.
Cool.
And yeah, she is. I guess personality-wise, I'd kind of describe her as maybe a little distant at times, but
Like her.
certainly competent.
Cool.
And so she kind of talks to those of you who would like any advice through the necessities of traveling out in the jungle. She seems actually pretty impressed by the fact that you guys are going to be just set through magic on basically all of your rations.
So she respects us already,
Yeah, I would say healthy respect.
which is always good to have from your guide.
Yeah.
I would say during this conversation, Treehugger gets a little more serious.
Okay.
So he's not like fascinated by things or whatever. He's a little more focused, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the job is at hand at this point. So he's like, as he's getting descriptions from her on like, don't eat this or whatever. Like he's kind of focused in a lot more meaningful way.
As
So.
he's,
Yeah. Yeah, so
as he starts
go ahead.
focusing, the hummingbird flies over and lands on his head and is watching whatever he's watching. So, and I am looking through that.
All right.
I'm just basically watching without sitting over there.
Okay. Cool. So, yeah, you get the whole breakdown, right? You know, talking about food, talking about water, saying if you guys do need to find water from an outside source, do not drink the river water. You will get throat leeches.
Alright.
Let's see what else. Basically, be cautious of a lot of the local flora, as there have been quite a few reports of dangerous things out in the woods, whether they be toxic or, in some cases, even predatory plants. And she does advise you, much like Jobal did, about perhaps finding some means of driving away insects that might harass and bite you over the course of your journey.
Should we have tents for each one of us?
She says basically that the two most common means of dealing with the insects are the two main varieties of insect repellent that are sold in Port Nyanzaru. One is a block of incense, which you can light and it'll burn for 8 hours and repel normal insects within about 20 feet or so before it's burning.
Can I use that incense for my spell as well?
I would say sure.
Can I use my spell incense for that?
What?
No. No. The other one, more expensive, is like a salve that you can apply to yourself to protect you from normal insects for 24 hours. It is waterproof and doesn't wash off in the rain, but the price difference here, just breaking it down, is it's 1 silver piece for a block of incense that you burn for 8 hours and keeps bugs away. Or it's 1 gold for 20 applications of odorless salve.
How long does the odorless salve last?
24 hours.
Oh, can you repeat that again?
24 hours.
No, the entire...
Okay. Incense. 1 silver for a block that burns for 8 hours.
Okay.
Salve. 1 gold for 20 individual applications of the salve that works for 24 hours and is waterproof.
The
So
salve
is the better
way
deal.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
way
found a
better.
bunch of yen in the bottom of my purse.
Like you
Bunch
do.
of what?
Yen.
Oh, yen.
Yeah.
How much
And a
is that? How much salve can you get with that?
20 yen.
Probably not much.
I found 26 cents and 101 yen.
You might get to like smell the salve.
Well,
It's not free, smells like Jimmy John's.
The 26 cents is more money than the 101 yen.
Well, I am going to buy 5 gold worth of the incense.
No.
The incense, okay. Alright, so yeah, you have fucking A. Alright. 50 blocks of incense.
Okay.
How much does that weigh?
Good question. I don't know if there's actually an entry for that, so I guess I'll see if there's just like regular
Now, bear in mind,
incense.
I need 10 gold to summon my familiar. So that's a
Mhm.
lot of incense.
What?
Yeah. You need 10 gold of incense, charcoal, and herbs. So I'm gonna buy 5 gold of incense, 5 gold of herbs, and then I can find some charcoal. Or I can make charcoal.
You don't just have an arcane focus
I
for
have
that?
to, it's spent.
You have
Yeah.
to, yeah.
If
You
there's a
can't
cost
arcane
associated,
focus
you have
that.
to spend.
That's crazy.
So I'm picking up. And could I finagle it to where I could get roughly 1 summon out of it? I have 9 gold, 3 silver, and 5 copper. Barring the charcoal. Can I get enough of the rest of the stuff?
Yeah. If you find some charcoal, you're good.
Cool.
I mean, yeah. Anything else we should get?
I'm gonna get some of that salve.
Okay.
I'll take 2 gold worth of it.
Okay. So yeah, you have 40 applications
Cool.
of insect
How much
repellent
does
salve.
each
I
block
will also
weigh?
get that.
Yeah. Since I'm smaller, does it take more? Does it do more applications?
No, unfortunately.
Like half the size of the other people.
I'm like smaller than you.
What were the prices for that?
I'm only 4 feet.
It's 1 gold for 20 applications
yeah,
of
but you're
salve,
fatter than I am.
or 1 silver for a block of incense.
How much does insect salve weigh?
Good question.
I'm gonna get the salt.
Okay. Let's say that. I mean, I don't want this to be too huge a deal, so let's just say that, like, an incense block, we'll just put it at, like, 0.1. And, let's see, we're talking, like, a gourd of salve, so that's a little bigger. I mean, we'll call that, like, a pound for each gold worth, so
What
every
if-
20...
What if I volunteer to carry it for everybody, and in exchange I can use it when I need it? Since I don't have any money to buy my
Are we
own,
gonna
but I'll carry it
gonna
for
need it?
everybody.
24/7, or
No,
are we just gonna need it at night? This is me asking.
I mean,
What's her nuts?
Zaka or something?
Yeah, Azaka. Well, the bugs don't necessarily rest.
Well, all right.
sleeping bugs don't lie.
Yeah. So, other things. Go ahead.
I will buy 40 insect salve for heat tree hugger.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
You
Thanks.
said it's a pound for 20, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to keep track of how many crossbow bolts I use?
No, we're not gonna get that nitty gritty
Okay.
with the details.
Hmm.
Okay. So other things to consider. Perhaps down the road a bit, once you've maybe profited a bit from your adventures, you could end up buying a canoe to traverse the wilds a little bit more quickly, at least wherever the rivers will take you.
How much do canoes cost?
50 gold.
I don't have that.
That's why I said down the road.
Can we just steal one?
We might be able to make one.
You can certainly try. Let's see, other stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it for essentials, because, like, you know, she brings up rain catchers for a moment, but, like, you're probably not going to need rain catchers, because, you know, you can just make all the water you need.
Can I get, like, some climbing gear? I'm not proficient, but I feel like climbing gear might be helpful.
Yeah. A climber's kit, though, is a bit pricey. It's like 25 gold.
I don't have that much. What about, like, some individual components of it?
Maybe. So, I mean, you could like jury rig something a little bit in terms of, like, you know, in game terms, maybe it lowers the DC by like 1 or 2, for like half that.
I only have 10 gold.
I got rope and pitons and a hammer and stuff.
Yeah, I have rope, and he has, but this has special pitons.
Ooh.
Ooh, special ones.
I mean, I think if you have them, they'll do the job. So,
Okay.
You know.
Well, that's just boot tips, gloves, and a harness.
While they're discussing this, I pull out a
I
book
get
and
s-
start reading.
And I
Okay.
get, like... I don't know. I really shouldn't be climbing. I'm not good at climbing.
Don't climb.
I'm really heavy.
What are you
I
trying to
don't know.
climb?
I feel like we might climb things.
Trying to climb me, maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe you can just throw us up there.
He's big enough. We'll just climb him.
I can
Hmm.
try.
Well, I'm just saying I have gold to spend. Anyways.
You
I
don't
can
need
keep
to
it.
spend
Yeah,
it.
bro, you
Yeah.
need some.
Okay.
All right. So we're good on supplies.
I think so.
Okay. Then I think we will pick up next time
Ah!
in the morning of your first day out in the jungle as you embark from Port Nyanzaru.
Cool.